Introducing the PDPA World Darts Championship.
Welcome back to Online Darts, everyone. We're here at Alexandra Palace, and I've finally got my man, Duzzy. You've been ignoring me for weeks, but you can't escape anymore.
Yes, she's pinned me in a room. I don't know where we are, but I promised to do the interview.
How you doing, buddy? You all right?
I couldn't be better, honestly. It's been a bit of a slog. Round about day 3, I had a bit of a problem. I'd done a night session onto an afternoon. I was thinking the end goal seems a long way away, but since then it's okay.
Look, but where to start? There is this World Championship. We're only not even halfway through yet.
Yeah.
As this will go out Christmas Eve or Boxing Day, so just for context when we're recording this, but my God, it has thrown up some stories already.
And I can't believe it, because I actually said I didn't anticipate. I said one seed in the first round may go, but I didn't think there would be the barrage of seeds going that we have. I mean, yesterday was incredible. But you know, the things I've loved have been the walk-ons, Tatsunami, Sakai, you know, the Munyas, the Nitin Kumars. I mean, there's been some brilliant stories along the way, and you know, that global impact that we're searching for in the sport has been great. But yeah, it's been a funny old start to this competition, but I do believe cream will rise to the top.
Yeah, look, obviously we were all unsure how this 128 was going to go. Was it too soon? Was the talent there? The talent has certainly shown globally that it is there and can compete.
Yeah, but you want it to sustain. Like Nitin Kumar, he was terrific in that first game. Didn't look like it in the same game. Sakai, I thought this is a proper dart player despite all the histrionics and the dancing. You know, he fell aside in the second game. So we are looking for someone to really kick on. Maybe someone like Andreas Harrison, who doesn't have the personality of others. Could be the one that's going to go deep this year. But like I said, it's been a fascinating start.
Right, we'll try and do this in some kind of order, because I think they all kind of link towards the end. So we'll try and do this. Well, first of all, we'll do Dom Taylor.
Yeah.
Failed a second drugs test, and obviously, as we're recording this, he's released a statement, basically telling the world that yes, I lied. And so, first of all, how disappointed were you? Obviously, he's done the rehab and so on. When he fell, what was your initial thought when he failed the second test?
You know, my first thought was my old manager, you know, one of my best friends, Mac Elkin. So he's the first person I messaged just to check he was okay, and he wasn't. He was disappointed, and so my first reaction maybe should have been the player, as in Dom Taylor, because I like him. I just think, like, how many chances would you give somebody in that situation there? He's so talented. He's such a good player. You know, and I would love to be focused on the darts there. And when you've had a warning like a failed test, and we can talk about the UK doping and the fact it was only like a month's ban, is that how big of a deterrent really can that be for someone? Then to do it within the World Championships as well, it's borderline. No, it's so disappointing. But number one, my role these days is with the PDPA as well. So, you know, my first initial impact was to speak with the other directors, and you know, they were onto it straight away. You know, we're in touch, we're dealing with it, and that's why we didn't really want to make a statement. I've always been within the PDPA, like, you know, I get fed up when Alan Souter's saying PDPA and then just has that smile on his face. Nathan Aspinall, I hope the PDPA, the services are there. The first thing we did was to get in touch with Dom to make sure, first and foremost, was he okay? But we can't then, you know, this is what we're doing because it's so confidential. So that's why I was quite happy he's put a statement out, Dom. Look, it was a detailed one. I haven't really digested it fully. But it's a long answer to say, yeah, I was disappointed, very disappointed, because I hope he hasn't ruined his career now. I don't know what the DRA, I don't know what what the implications are of that, whether he keeps his money, if there's going to be a ban, does it impact on his tour card, etc. You know, that's something I haven't looked into. Number one priority was just to double check that first of all he's okay, and it was nice to see that status.
A couple of bits in there we'll come on to later on, because they kind of all interlink. But like you say, for the fact his career, look, we're looking at it from just a purely UK anti-doping, it looks like it's going to be 2 years. It might, but reading their guidelines, it looks like it will be a 2-year ban. But more to the point, this is now 3 failed tests within a year. Yeah. Is there an issue within, and I don't want to think, but it seems to be the younger players, is there a bigger issue that perhaps needs to be looked at?
Well, it's only a single person we're talking about. If
Or you got Rusty.
But Rusty's wasn't.
Yeah, but there's still 3 failed drug tests within a year.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm not sitting here thinking, oh my God, what is going on here? That's not my thought process here. What should we be doing about it? We have got a serious problem here. It is a really, really tough one, but you know, I would say to any dart player watching this interview now, you have got the best job in the world, and the opportunities that are out there right now are incredible. Don't be stupid, don't be silly. You know, you've got to give sacrifices. You barely see your family as a dart player, so don't ruin it for something recreational, something that you may regret, and that is something that Dom Taylor's going to have to live with the rest of his life now. Then
we had Cameron Menzies, obviously. That was a full mental breakdown on stage. We saw it. Well, again, everyone's talking about either he needs help or he needs punishment. If I'm being honest, there's probably somewhere in the middle where he needs both. If I'm being honest, but like I say, he has obviously suffered up there. First of all, again, when you saw that, it wasn't a good look for the sport. But then it's how you deal with it. I'm guessing. Yeah,
and I'm not. My first thought process with Dom was punishment. My first thought for Cameron was we need to support. So there was a difference even in the reactions or something from that there, because I'd never seen anything like it in all my life. The slow-mos of it with the, you know, the fire, with the, you know, and then onto that as well. It was something that sort of takes your breath away a little bit. But my first thought process wasn't there. Again, it was straight speaking to the PDP directors, and the good news was, you know, Alan and Peter were all over it. You know, like our services are out there. We want to support people. Part of the thing for Dom was to go through a rehabilitation course, and you know, we want to help. We don't want people failing drugs tests. We have to educate people. You know, our role is strategically is how do we do that? How do we deliver it? And how do we get the dart players to listen to it? You know, we've offered seminars. We've offered one-to-ones. You know. I'm not sure how much more we can sort of say to people. In the end, it's about decision making, and that split-second decision making. And remember, I was asked on Sky 5 minutes after, "What do you think of it?" And I gave the wrong answer. You know, my first thought process is why? Why did Cameron do that? It's not normal to do it. I'd even gone before the match to say how mature he was in 2025 and how he's getting better at dealing with situations, and then that happens. And who knows what's going through someone's mind? Who knows what dictates? And I'm a player, remember, at 4-2 down on a Pro Tour who walked away from a match. You know, I've made my mistakes in my time, and the PDPA were the first people to contact me. Are you okay? I didn't get any sanctions for walking away from that one because everyone thought my mental health was at a stage of someone who'd been here all the way down to there. I never was interviewed by the DRA. No one ever contacted me there. I think they realised. So I'm not sure what the decision process is going to be in relation to the DRA for that. But it's one of the worst things I have seen. And but my first thought with Cameron was he needs help.
It's a real interesting time because we've had so many mental health. Like Rob Cross has just given an incredible press conference about how he's come off his medication, and it's the first time that he's opened up. Nathan Aspinall and so on. That I don't want to say just in darts, but just in life. Is there a real stigma and issue with men's mental health that people won't talk and won't open up?
It's good to talk, isn't it? And you know, that's the big thing. And I knew that about Rob Cross, and he's someone I said in comms that he just wants an arm around his shoulder. It is when you've been the top of the world. You know, it's the only way is down after that. You know, it's been quite open about his financial situation, etc. That's got he'll talk it down. No, that's not the problem. But you know, I still see a player there who's got everything to gain in the future. He's in an unbelievable position, and I thought it was very heartwarming, his interview. I think it's one of the best interviews he's given, and good luck. But you know, once again, I reiterate to every dart player, our support is there.
Look, it's Barney was another one. Now this is more what your opinion is, because a lot's been made of his performance, and I'm just going to say how I looked at it. It's the first time I've seen someone almost happy to lose on the stage. He raised Stefan Belmont's hand. He was laughing and jokey. Is it time to hang them up? Is that desire gone? Because you were an elite level sportsman. You've won the Premier League, 3 Lakeside titles. When that desire goes and you're happy to lose, is it time to perhaps to to hang them up.
Interesting, Phil, because if he'd have stormed off, mourning, head down, like he's been criticised of doing before, he'd be asking me the question about his reaction to that defeat. He probably thought, you know what, I can't go to bed tonight reading all the look of miserable Barney with his arm in the air. So he can't really win whatever his response was. I thought it was magnanimous, his interview, in a sense that he gave all the credit to Belmont rather than the performance of Barney. He's 58, is he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. My interview with Sky was Father Time catches up with you. Does he want to be remembered as the 5 times champion of the world? But even there's so much money in the game now. Walking away, it's difficult. You know, even getting to the first round here, you know, it's 15,000 quid. It's a slog. The travelling, he's still super busy on the exhibitions there. But is he going to be at the business end of competitions again? I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if I'm being interviewed by you during 2026, where we're talking about the fact how he's bounced back and showed resilience, and here he is winning Players' Championships, Euro Tours. Does he really want to go through the next 2 or 3 years where he's just making money? I don't know, because that's a tough to talk to about a 5 times champion of the world. My personal view is I couldn't wait. The best ever game I ever had was the World Qualifiers in 2022, where I just get me out of it, get me out of here. But it, you know, for Barney, he can answer that. Who knows what the financial situation with him is? Who knows if he still has the belief? Because if he's been with Peter Wright, he's going to be world champion again. So has he got that mentality where he's got that, or is the realisation is, I just can't get beat by Stefan Belmont? You know, I want to be remembered as the 5 times champion of the world.
No, it's interesting, obviously, the PDPA stuff that you talked about. And look, I know we've had discussions, me, you, I've spoken to Alan Moore, and I fully understand and appreciate that there are a lot of services that you guys are offering to players. But then the other side of me hears the players talking about stuff that they don't know about, and they're saying, why isn't this happening, why isn't that happening? And obviously you're saying, well, it is there. That says to me, it's somewhere in the middle, that the disconnect between the PDPA and the players has never been wider when you've got the left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing. Would that be a fair assessment from an outsider looking in?
Yeah, I think so. And one of the reasons I joined the PDPA was to improve communication. You know, and I've struggled. I'm not going to sit here and say, because when do you contact the players? You know, you can't contact them on the morning of a Players' Championship to gauge their thoughts on the services. What can we be doing better? What do you think we are doing well? If you send them an email, they don't respond. The managers probably don't have time to do that. So the communication is really difficult. Look, I'm not in the modern world, so I'd like to see a strategy where we've got somebody who's modern, who can maybe flick a WhatsApp message to one of the players, and you know, there's other ways of communication. Maybe I'm just a little bit old in the tooth to understand that. I honestly thought I could walk up to a table at the Players' Championships and engage their thoughts, and it didn't really work out that way. There's a sharper way and a smarter way of doing things there. So I do guess, you know, because I was a player who was like, there's my 3% at the time. Crikey, what's 3% of 250 grand? You know, so I was one of them ones like, what they're doing. But now I'm within the PDPA. I am defensive of them because we work hard. The services are there, whether it's sport and chant, you know, any addiction, whether it's support, whether it's psychology, whether we're there, you know, whether it's injury, we're there. The rankings, you know, Andy Scott did work tirelessly in sending a rank. We don't promote it. You know, we don't say we listened and this is what we did. You know, we do an awful lot, but because of confidentiality in the relationship with the PDC, it's not like we can stand and say this is what we're doing. And I think that's where the disconnect and that's where the improvement needs to happen.
It's interesting that Nathan Aspinall said something about he can, because he's been to those places and obviously he's working on that mental side of his game more than ever, that he can see stuff in players. Yeah. Now, obviously that's a trait because he's been there, but is it maybe time that an expert or experts are more involved on a day-to-day basis and being proactive instead of reactive? And look, I think it's great that the PDPA were in touch with these players straight away, but that's being reactive. How do you be proactive in these things and perhaps spotting things in players earlier?
I'm not really sure what he sees, because I'd like to think that I'd similar. You know, I'm here and I've gone down there, so I'm not really sure what Nathan's doing. But Nathan's used our services. And Nathan is the one that got me to join the PDPA, remember, because he thought I was still relevant.
Yeah.
He thought, I can tell you on that hand how many players have really private messaged me with questions. And all I can say to you is I've replied to every single one of them, much to the support from the directors. The PDPA, as soon as I send a message saying this is what I've got, how would you deal with the situation, the recommendations come from there. So it gets me angry when, you know, we do take a beating, but the other directors seem to be a lot thicker skinned than I am. You know, the coaching that we've done has been, you know, I'm playing a lead part with that with Jamie Caven, and it's brilliant. You know, we're working hard. We're working on a second level blueprint right now. So, you know, the dart players have been on it. Current dart players, coach Scott Williams is one of them. He's now a level 1 coaching. So the website is a big place, and if you go on there, is that friendly for the players? Because everything's on there, from financial, you know, to the psychology aspect. You know, Bunting, Kevin Painter, you know, Trina Gulliver, all them there's some amazing stories that are out there. I think our job is to then showcase them.
We've seen more and more players suffering, whether that be, I say, on stage, off stage, or whatever, but it seems to be in turn with more and more prize money, more and more money involved in the game, that we've seen other sports, and it's now happening to darts. Is this the pressure that comes with massive growth and massive prizes on offer? Yeah,
one thing you haven't mentioned as well, when you mention all this team and like what are the PDP, that's what managers are there for as well. You know, the managers, so if you've got a player there and they've got management, surely, you know, they've got a role to play with there, because the money is, I think, it's second biggest sport we are now in the UK on Sky. So the 1 million quid, the riches are there. It's going to have an impact on players, but really it should be a real positive impact on them. You know, whatever the decision making by the PDC is meant to be for the beneficial of all players. But, you know, we've had a year this year where we're just looking after the top 16. So, you know, our roles is then to look a little bit further beyond there. But I think the managers have got a role if they can see something within their player. And, you know, if we're the first port of call for that, or, you know, what are they doing about it as well? So there's various angles to go there, but I'm not panicking, Phil. I'm not like thinking, hey, listen, directors, we have got an issue. We have got too many players who are suffering with mental health. It is hard. The circuit's hard. You do a lot of sacrifices, but the riches are there now if you're successful. And you're absolutely spot on. The people who are struggling, we need mechanisms in place that we're there to support them.
It's interesting because I can see the passion is there, and I genuinely hope you can find some, like the bits that you said, of getting through to the players and making it more accessible.
And I wish I could say more, because
I understand that.
Because we're dealing with it. We are looking and trying to come up with solutions to make sure that we are better with communication, that we look more modern. We are dealing with things. Nothing's sorted or anything yet, so we realise what the problems are. And if it is passion, like, don't think I stand here as a PDP director. I could almost apologise to Alan and Peter sometimes because I don't give enough. Because of my coaching, because of my Sky work, and my other, and the fact I'm still very much a family man. My grandson's the most important person in my life right now, and whereas they're 24/7, you know, Andy Scott doesn't switch off. Jamie Caven, he's going to be the future of the PDPA, in my opinion, and Alan Peter are non-stop. It's almost like am I doing enough? I often ask myself.
I understand that.
So the passion is only because I might be being a little defensive. That the mechanism, the support for the players. We want success. We want our players to be happy, and we want to be, you know, providing pathways for people to succeed. So mental health is not an issue. So it's probably that's where the passion's coming from.
Right, and I love that. Before we go on to the actual world, just on that, there's a couple of bits that I've spoken to you privately about. I'm going to put them on the record here about things like during games, that why managers aren't allowed to speak to their players, because in any other sport, there's either a tactical timeout or there's a half time where you can pass on information to players. And this goes back to my point that if that happened, maybe the player isn't on their own for an hour on the stage. Do you know what I mean? That there is a voice at a point. And I'm going to say this, and you can ask me to cut it out if you want, but I'll say it first of all. I remember one of your Lakeside titles when Mac got into you during that break, and you came out a completely different player because in that setup, it was allowed.
Yeah, and I had the negative as well, where I had someone who was putting the wrong thoughts in my mind.
Yeah.
So it's got to be balanced there. You threw me under the bus a little bit because I was going to take that idea as coming from me. I was going to email the PDPA and say I've come up with a great idea.
You can still take credit for it. It's fine.
Yeah, but it's very much like the Davis Cup in tennis, where when you need someone. I often talk in commentary. I'm surprised it's not on your bingo as well, where I say you can see them looking over the family and friends for support. If they could have someone to speak to within the breaks, I thought it was a brilliant idea. I think, and I don't understand why, because, it'd be no problem if someone. I'm a good motivator.
Yeah.
And Phil Bars is 2-2 and he's coming off the stage and I'm like, come on Phil, you can do this.
Yeah.
Keep believing, things go right. There's one little weakness here, there's a strength here, you're doing it. And all of a sudden you feel $1 million. Imagine Scott Williams then walking on, So I think it's a great idea, and it's something I will take on based on what you've said there.
And the other one is this big communal practice room. Now, is that outdated? And I understand space can be tight in certain venues, but again, like in other sports, boxers have their own dressing room, footballers have their own dressing room. Is it time where there should be, like today, 8 separate compartments where it's just the player and the team that he wants to get ready? Is that something, again, moving the sport forward? I understand those big communal practice rooms were great back in the day, but have we moved on from that now?
Yeah, I think so. And elements a bit like boxing, you wouldn't have them all sat in the same room there going through their preparation.
Well, I say, if you're tweaking something on a board, I don't want him to see it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you're trying something new, I don't want them to see it.
There has questions being asked about the actual players' room. Is it fit for purpose? Nutrition? We want someone there who can maybe do a massage before someone goes. Someone to chat to get the psychology part of it. But again, this is all quite fresh and all quite new.
I understand.
What people have come to us is that at the PDPA to say it's not really fit for purpose this day. So it wouldn't be a surprise to me when we go into the big room here at Ali Pali that. We might see areas where certain people can go and practice. I think some people like the communal. Some people like the fact that, right, I'm going to go and sit with AD Lewis and laugh my head off for an hour before I go up there.
Yeah, I understand.
But there'll be others, and I'd have been in the ones where I wanted to be on my own.
I get that.
So there's that one. So I like that. It's whether or not the accommodation are ready for all that, because it would mean...
This is what I mean. The sport is in transition. I fully appreciate that. And some of the venues, that might be tough and whatever, but it's just looking at how other sports and making ours better off of the other sports.
And for the fear of repeating the PDPA, no players ever sort of come up with that. It's more sort of managers have come in to say, is this really ready there? So when you look at priorities for players, it'd be interesting to see where something like that is, where that fits. And what I struggled with when we're talking about priorities for players, a player's priority who's 64 in the world is different to the priority of the guy that's number 1 in the world.
100%. I appreciate that.
It was very difficult to try and get the correct strategies and priorities in place.
Back to the World Championships. Beforehand, everyone was talking about Luke, Gerwin, Price. Have you seen anything so far to change your mind that those are the 3 front runners?
Yeah, I do like Ryan Searle. Martin Schindler was always my nap. He plays tonight, going to press here. I can't see a play sort of coming through. I'm interested in the Michael van Gerwen, Willie O'Connor. You'll know the result watching this by now, because Willie was terrific in the first round. There's just something in my mind that van Gerwen can still go very deep. So he wasn't great in his first game, but we've seen already with players how it's like, is this the same player? How can they be averaging 80 and then they're coming out? So I think that's a really important one there, but it's the 2 Lukes are the ones that are the standout ones, and people are excited for a Luke Littler Gerwin Price quarter final. Even when the draw was done, they highlighted, and the way they've performed in the first round games so far going to press, it wouldn't surprise me if that's the game of the competition.
You touched on it earlier as well. The good news broke before the tournament. We are going to the Great Hall next year, 5,500 for the first year. Massive step forward for this place, because the worry was we were going to leave Alexandra Palace, but that's been now put to bed. Yeah,
I've been coming here 7 years now, and I still didn't really know what the Great Hall was, so I've had a good look at it. It's certainly looking quite raw right now, so plenty of work to be done in there. But yeah, the atmosphere this year, again, it should be on your bingo. I'm often talking about the atmosphere is absolutely sensational, and then when you put another couple of thousand on that as well, the tickets are going to go. It's an experience coming into Ali Pali, and sort of go to the Great Room, and the reminder of the old News of the World days as well. delighted it's staying here, and I hope it's the home of darts for many years to come.
The other interesting one that's come out in the build-up to the World Championships is Luke especially, but others now mention it as well, that they're not going to do any Pro Tours next year. Luke Humphries, I'm not doing any. Littler's gone, I'll do the 6 at Wigan.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the Pro Tours being almost irrelevant now for the top players?
It's a worry, isn't it? It's because you want your players there. But the calendar's so busy. I often look at things like tennis and snooker, and like, are they having the same issues there? I mean, it would be better because, you know, when you have like a Ross Marlin or it does feel like a different Pro Tour, because a lot of the UK seeds haven't gone, oh, you're seeing different winners. The Jermaine Wataminas are suddenly coming to the fours, etc. So it's an interesting one, but I don't think it's a right one. But is that down to the fact that we're now going to Bahrain, we're going to Saudi, etc.? You know, all those World Series of darts, meaning the calendar with the Premier League, it's almost like a play. It's impossible to play in everything. So yeah, we'll have to maybe suck that one and see if it's the right decision.
Now, the other thing, off the back of this, if that happens, and let's just say, I know I'm playing, this might happen, but Luke, Gerwyn Price and Marco van Gogh, and all of a sudden do none or very limited Pro Tours, then they're missing Minehead.
I don't think they will.
Then, if you're a broadcaster or a sponsor that have paid a lot of money, and you're going to be like, hang on a minute, I didn't sign up for this. Is there then potential repercussions if they choose to go this way, that there may be a way that they have to shoehorn players into events?
Yeah, well, I don't think they'll shoehorn anybody unless they're going to come up with remember the old World Masters in the BDO days where the top 16 were given the players.
That was my point. Is it going to get to the point, do you think, where the top 16 are going to have to be guaranteed everything? Nathan Asman's already said he can see a world in 3 or 4 years where there'll be Pro Tours going on, but there'll also be World Series events where the top players are needed, so they're going to have the opportunity to do ranking events.
I always thought the Pro Tour was the 128 with 1-2, and the Challenge Tours was your secondary tours, not a Pro Tour going on in a World Series. I don't want to see a world of that where there's that separation there. I don't think that will create much harmony within the players. There's a couple of things I would like to see. I think what will happen with the players is they will determine. Is that 20-7?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to go.
Are you on Sky? Are you on it?
I'm on Sky.
Everyone, we'll cut this short.
Right, see ya. Crikey, 27. 6, I'm on telly.
Introducing the Paddy Power World Darts Championship.